Welcome to another episode of Design in Progress. Tonight, our back cast off casting, which is Vandaminus's game, collectible trading card game in a box, fully contained. Here's all your cards. Go make decks, have fun, kind of thing. We have played this once before. Did a 4-player again now. Then we're just doing a regular 1v1 night. There have been a lot of changes. Randominus took a lot of our feedback that we gave him last time. Things are looking a lot better. I'm gonna hand it over to him to do just like a 2-minute brief explanation of what the heck this game is and how some of this stuff works. And then we're gonna jump in and play a game.
All right, thank you. This is Cast Off Casting. It is a two-person 1v1 brawler game where you collect resources called fodder and your own personal array of cards to duke it out basically with your opponent using mechanics such as push and pull and all the likes. You build a deck around your leader card who dictates what kind of cards you can use, what your starting life total is, and what passive abilities you may have. And that's basically it. It's
Punch.
pretty straightforward. Punch,
Have creatures punch each other, play spells. Whoever
bell each
um,
other.
whoever gets the other person to. So tonight, uh, I'm gonna I am playing Bloop the Sea King, which makes all of my minions cost 1 more, but they all have +1 attack, and then whenever I place a counter on a minion, I can sacrifice that many counters +1, which I just decided to ignore. Like we're not gonna do that second part, and we'll see how that goes. I basically went for how cheap, like the cheapest, goodest creatures that I could possibly find, and then direct damage. Let's see if this works. It probably is not going, but at the very least, it will be interesting. And then we can talk about random thoughts that I had while I was looking at all of these cards and being, "This is broken. This is awesome. This is horrible." All of the things.
All the
Um,
horrible little things the designers love to hear.
and you're playing
Today, yeah, I'm
Tim,
playing Tim,
the clumsy
Clumsy
assassin,
Assassin.
who has access to all of the cards. Or wait, not green. What is black?
Not black is just like that field is devoid. Like
Uh,
yeah.
that's confusing graphically. Um, I'm being
Maybe I'll change it.
I'm being a smartass tonight. Other players' turn, one less, and have prowess. And oh, that's right. We get to play what, 1 minion and charm.
2 cards per turn and then as many spells. So
Ah,
any
so it could be
combination
2
of
charms.
minions and charm. Correct.
What is prowess again in this? So used to prowess and
Prowess in this game is first strike. It deals
ah,
combat damage first.
that's right. I am interested to see if I don't think I put any sluggish cards in my, but I'm interested to see how those play doing damage. Um,
Hmm.
I know that they talked about doing last future sight. They just never did it. Future sight for those who have played Magic the Gathering but were not around. I don't even want to look up how long ago future sight was because I think it was probably close to 20 years. I feel old as fuck. But it was, they added a bunch of cool stuff. But anyway, sorry, I'm talking about Magic. We should be playing this. How many cards did we draw? Can't
Yeah,
remember.
I did not put the setup card out, so that's my bad. You shuffle your deck and draw 6.
6 cards.
Then you can return any number of cards in your hand to your deck, shuffle it, and then draw back up to 6.
Right. They get 1 free mulligan.
Yeah.
Um, all right, well,
Do you want to flip a coin to see who goes first, or
sure. Heads.
very good flip?
Nice.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go first, just
Probably should not have kept.
show
That's
the
okay.
order.
It's totally fine.
So at the start of your turn, you draw 2, rally 1, based off of what your leader says for the rally part.
All 2. Start of your turn.
Yes, you draw 2 cards
That's
instead
right,
of
because
1.
you.
Hmm. Just to keep pacing on good
Mhm.
standing.
I also have thoughts on that. That's we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. I'll bury 2 cards from my hand.
Hurry.
Gunk Gunk to rally 1.
How many
Then
gonk gonks are going to be the thing that you ship to people? Gonk gonk is just good.
I'm thinking 4 copies of every card, but
Mhm.
if there's I feel like in the future I want to do like some sort of community vote thing or something to be like, what cards do you want more of? And we'll just ship out a
Yeah.
packet.
I mean, I do feel like there might need to be like a very slight curve. Like some cards there's 6 of and some there's only 3.
Yeah, something like that could also
That's some
help too.
subtle shit for later.
Mhm.
All right, my turn.
Nope. Hmm.
Ah!
I'm going to reveal this card to rally 1.
It doesn't cost anything,
So only you can only bury cards with the bury mechanic from
right?
your hand.
No, I know. As long as they have bury, they're free to bury, and then
Correct.
flip them up. You pay their
Which is actually a recent change because before burying a card was one of your 2 cards for turn. Now you can bury any number of cards you wish, but revealing a card counts as one of
ounces.
your cards for turn. Sort of helped
Like
with some other issues I was having.
extending your hand, kind of.
Correct.
Alrighty, a turn.
And it is your turn. I'll just turn on turn.
So I get gonk. So what is your tendency with the gonk? Gonk fodder to like put them up here
I
to
put them next to the fodder deck. There's a little zone for them there if you like. You can
that
also put them on the table if you wish.
then once you use them, where you just
Put them back on the deck. Since the deck isn't technically a thing that exists, it's just where you pull them from.
fodder.
Yep, yep.
Use
So fungal colony costs 3 because of your leader.
is a I never drew my 2 cards.
Wrong deck.
Like that they're different.
And that actually has a bonus of having +1 power and +1 armor. Pretty strong. Draw 2, rally 1. I'll play Gunk Gunk again. Rally 1. I will pay 1 for a cluster clan. And then I'll pay 1, 2 for a Hollow Willow. And with that, I will end my turn.
And damage is the same as Magic the Gathering, where they heal at the end of their turn, right? Doesn't
Correct.
trying to remember.
Yep, yep.
All right. So start of my turn. Draw 2 cards. Build the wrong deck, Jake. Build the wrong. All right. Okay. For my 1.
Alright. I'll pay 3 fodder to play Spreading Fire, which at the end of my turn allows me to rally 1. And then I am going to attack you with Cluster Clams for 1 damage.
I can block with my hog.
Yep,
I don't have to put.
you do have to push. Correct. So Cluster Clams will be destroyed, and I get to rally 2 off of that because of their ability. Then I end my turn, rallying another 1 off of my leader and 1 from Spreading Fire. I know I said blind playtest, and then I'm just telling you everything.
I would have gotten there. When I'm playing Magic the Gathering, it's horrible about doing things in the right order. I was like, yeah, so I'm gonna attack you. Oh wait, I have to draw a card, and then oh yeah, I should untap my man. I'm
I do the exact
an
same thing. I get
absolute
it.
nightmare. Okay. deck is not like I wanted it. I'm play a bald
All right.
and back with deck hog and also. Oh,
All right. I will block the grub grub with my were sheep and block the heck hog with my hollow willow. So first things first. Oh, question. Okay. I choose the were sheep to block the grub grub first, so those two will both die. 2 damage from each other.
oh, you have
He has 1 armor. So when you're defending, you use the blue armor as your damage. When you're attacking, you use the red value.
okay. So okay.
So
Sorry, I didn't know that. I is that how that worked last time we played?
it did not.
Okay.
Last time it was like health, but it's just ignored damage, and that was a
Right. I
very
was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna have so much like well, health and ignored, and no, not at all.
sorry.
No, it's fine. I should have confirmed. All right. So they both die. That's cool. Ain't no
Yep.
thing.
And then Hollow Willow versus the Heck Hog, neither of them will take lethal damage.
Oh yeah, I can do that. And as my second thing, this attacking this, and I put it out.
Mhm. Cool, cool. Ready, my guys. Draw my 2. Only 1. Hmm. I don't have too much. So I'm going to pay 1 for Flame Healer. When he enters, I can put either +1 or -1 life counter on a target minion. I'm going to put a -1 life counter on your Heck Hog. And then I'll pay another 1 for Regressive Static to deal 1 damage to any target, which I'll deal 1 damage to your Heck Hog, killing it, and then deal 1 damage to you. When I do that, I draw. Oh, I don't draw 1. I should have drew 1 for the Grub Grub, but I didn't, so I won't do that. So your Heck Hog is destroyed, and you take 1 damage. And then I'll rally 2 at the end of my turn and give it to you. Oh, I should have attacked.
Not good at all. F. That. I literally can't play. That's my.
All right.
I did a crappy job.
That's all right.
What happens,
If
kids?
we build better decks, bury a card, reveal it to rally 1, and if we have, I assume we'll have time if this game ends short. We have a lot of other decks you can play too.
I mean, we can do
So
that. The other thing is, I have many thoughts. I have a feeling we're gonna be talking for.
that's fair. That's fair. I will pay 2 for the itty bitty spider, and I'll attack you for 2 damage.
Uh,
And then I'll end my turn rallying 2.
you- way more.
Mm. Did he fall for the trap? I was scared when you said bloop.
I mean, a little bit fell for the trap. A little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I am gonna put out chicken.
Oh, it's our favorite card.
And scary crap do you have?
No. All right. This guy, rally one, draw two. I'm going to do the big move now. Pay 7 for the cowled minotaur. Epic minions you control have -1 power. Whenever an epic minion you control is destroyed, I deal 1 damage to that minion's controller. So a
Hmm,
very epic minion hate card.
anti epic.
Yeah. Oh, you had a trigger on this guy too at the end of the turn.
Uh,
So, like usual, I'll attack with the Flame Healer and then the Cowled Minotaur to deal 6 damage.
I can block this. Kill it.
You can kill the Flame Healer or you can prevent the 5 damage from the Minotaur.
Ah, I'll take the 5 damage.
Alright. Yep.
That's how we roll.
And I'll end my turn there. Rally 2. Yeah, counters are weird on the board.
The other one. Tokens and tiles. Tiles might,
Maybe.
and it will also have different.
Oh, that is true. Ooh, almost knocked over my drink.
Oh, that'd be bad. Okay.
Hmm.
I end my turn.
Ready my guys, draw my 2, rally my 1. I'm going to pay 3 for Spreading Fire. And then, as normal, Cowled Minotaur into you for 5. I will obliterate your rock, draw 1, and that will be my turn, allowing me to rally 3.
Okay. Critter combo. All in all.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And you get your last counter on the chicken. 2, rally 1. I'm going to pay 1 for quick cash, which will allow me to rally 2. And then I will pay 2 for a, oop, forgot to do that, for a shock rock. And then I will pay another 2 for another shock crop. And I'll attack you with all of these guys for 9 damage.
Big one.
All
Big
right.
one. And
Our little guy. Yep. Or from what? Oh, it's at the end of your turn. Yep.
what an interesting amount of restriction on a card that is not very good. Like at the end of your turn, if you've had any amount, get one.
I might change it to end of turn, but I've had problems with things that could rally a lot that cost 0, so there's a lot of restrictions on some of those cheaper cards.
Well, I mean,
And that'll be my turn.
and it's my turn.
Yep. Ooh, that's a big one.
Basically. Uh, okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll hang back to block.
Mhm. Draw 2, rally 1. So I'm going to play a card called Sugar and Spice, which allows every player to draw 1, then rally 1. And I'm going to pay 2 for another copy of Chakra. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Forgot the price. Play this Inconspicuous Wolf, which I didn't bury. I probably should have. And basically end the game, I think.
Yeah. I can't block that.
Mm-mm. Chose a real tough leader for your first one. My
Well,
friend did something similar.
no. I mean, well, here's the thing. Here's my thought.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and this is gonna sound harsh, but don't worry about it. Coming to a
Yeah.
pod. Um, what I'm not. What I'm gonna say is, while this might not, as far as um, made a lot of Magic the Gathering decks.
Mm.
You know, so I know just instinctively about what a curve for my how many. Um,
Mm.
like I have like an intrinsic feeling to that because I've built so many decks.
Mm.
Um, and that does not work with the game at all. Like it's just like a totally the mana system is so different that this instinct is just
Yeah.
um which is not necessarily bad, it's just you're gonna have friction from a lot of players
Mm.
when they start playing. Just being like all of my instincts for building a deck in a trading card game don't,
Mm.
like usually you're getting mana or crystals or whatever the thing regularly enough um that it's fine, and it ends up being about the same building wise of what's my mana curve going to look like, all that. And I
Mm.
think my problem, and I think we talked about this before, I know, because of what we talked about at the beginning. I think the problem might be if you literally just like look in a person's deck before the game even starts and just count how many cards they have that say rally on them, that person's
Mhm.
probably going to win 8 times out of 10 because your everybody's economy is like this. Like
Mhm.
that's my mana economy every single turn. Like I get one and then I spend it. And then maybe I got two and then I spend it. And I get another one and I spend it. Like whereas in most trading card games, like it's like this. So
Yeah.
like it'll take me maybe a couple turns to get there, but then I have consistent I can always play a 5 mana creature because now I have 5
Mhm.
mana. So I can just play 5 mana creature now. Um which is just is weird to be like, okay, it's like turn 8, I have 1 mana.
Yeah.
So like you're basically forcing in a weird way, you're basically like forcing everybody to play an elf deck. Like where however
Mhm.
many creatures people have, it would be like if you were playing a game of Magic the Gathering and only had 1 mana that you started the game with, and then you had to just play the game. Everyone would be like, "Well, yeah, these creatures that tap for mana are just broken, busted as fuck because everyone else just has 1 mana." You know.
Yeah.
S- So I do think you know I didn't play the test. I assume you at least tested like the switching out where like instead of this when it sacrificed being worth one that it's worth three. I assume
I
you
did.
yeah, and I
Mhm.
believe you that it was broken. That's totally doable.
That was that system was fairly broken. Where like the three costing three was horrendous
Right.
because like turn three, everyone has either the most powerful things in their deck or
Mm,
what, and at least it was consistent to where everyone was the most powerful. But the problem with that is like there is no long term
right.
game
I mean, and I
for
think
anybody.
part of it probably honestly
Mhm.
leaders bad. Because if you look at let me showcase some of these other leaders that have come up with. Um we're going to lock these.
Yep.
Um Very good. So this one does not. Sorry. This one does. You'll
No, I get what you're doing. I see
does
it.
right. Like these all
Mhm.
have at the start of your
Mhm.
turn rally one, and then do something else and also rally one,
Mhm.
which I think almost without fail you should have on every single. Like
Mhm.
first off, if all of the leaders are going to have at the start of your turn rally one, then you don't need it on this. It can just be part of the rules of the game. So,
Okay.
because then like your dude here but his like everyone would have at the start, and then his thing would just be at the end of your turn rally one.
That's a
There you go.
fair rule.
He
Mhm.
gets the two, and everyone else's just has this, and then whenever you do this, and whenever you do this, and whenever you do that, like there should be a consistent way for you to also get other fodder. Because other than that, you're just like literally relying on cards to do
All
it
right.
for you. Which I think was going to become pretty um what's the cannibalistic pretty quickly, where like you literally just have to have as many cards that rally in your deck as possible, or you lose. Which means that's the only thing that you get to really that you as a designer get to really play with is how do I have this card rally in an interesting way as opposed to this card to rally in an interesting way. Because if it doesn't have rally on it, people just aren't going to play it. Like
Mhm.
um, which I'm not saying is necessary, but it might turn into or people might feel that way very quickly. They might literally just be like, "Why would I play literally any card that does not have rally?" you know.
Mhm.
Um. So that's my shtick on Anna curve and all of that. I don't know if that's actually helpful. Um. But I think it is a small problem in the game that is accentuated by the weirdness of like Bloop here, where
Mm,
like if this was, at the start of your turn, rally one, minions cost one more, blah, blah, blah. And then instead of this last ability, if it was something like if at the end of your turn you have like three or more minions out, rally again. Or like if you
mhm,
have three creatures out with a cost of zero, like there's an extra little thing there that it's okay. Now I can start rallying to a turn. Great. Because it was literally just like, well, I got to rally once a turn and you got to rally four or five times a turn by the end of the game.
mhm.
So you won. Is that kind of how it felt. I mean, I had an entire turn where I was just like, I just everything in my hand is like two or three or four, and I'm only rallying once at the start of my turn. Yeah, of course I can. Like, that's my whole turn. Fun. But that's okay. That these things happen. Um,
Mhm.
what I guess what is your response to?
I definitely what I'm going for is a much more unique mana system,
Hmm.
a much more tedious one to maintain.
Right.
And the problem with it is you brought up mana curve in
Hmm.
games, or when you build a deck. In this game, the deck construction is a straight line down,
Hmm.
mostly.
Right.
That's sort of how it's designed to be. Is you get the cheaper guys and then you get the bigger guys later,
Right. Whereas like
basically.
Magic the Gathering tends to kind of be like this,
Exactly.
with
Instead
maybe
of
maybe a little spike here if you have like some
oop,
crazy mythic rares. Ah,
I pressed the wrong button. Hold
it's
on.
fine. No biggie. Um, right. So it's again not a bad thing, but it's going to be friction for people who are coming from other trading card games to be like, what the fuck is happening here? Like with this weird ass man.
Hmm.
Um, the next thing that I do think is important is um one. Sorry, my brain is kind of scattered.
It's all right.
Things that just passively rally for no cost other than thing
Mhm.
are just like absurdly powerful. Like you have this one and I had one in my hand. Oh, not that one. I don't know what happened to it. This one here at the start of your turn rally one. It's just like uh um, you know, it's if this is, you know, person one is this and then person two is this all of a sudden. Like that
Mhm.
was a horrible way of doing that graph. Sorry. I'm gonna erase all this. Person one is this. And then person two, who all of a sudden got one of those cards, is literally just for the rest of the game. Whereas this person is still down here. Ah
Yeah.
no. Um and maybe three is fine for that, but maybe also there's like some amount of cost to this.
Mhm.
Like rally one and lose a life. Or, like rally like pull a creature and rally one at the end of your turn.
Mhm.
Like there should be some amount of cost. Just passive rally one seems particularly strong for only three. Um, and the fact that there's two different cards that do it, is pretty kooky also. So here's my next thing. This is a little bit of a soapbox. And for those who have played and read a lot about Magic the Gathering, this might be a familiar soapbox, but it's a useful soapbox. Magic the Gathering. Here we go. Wooberg. Let's talk about the color pie. Aha. White. Ooh. Uh. uh, yeah. Here we go. All right. In Magic the Gathering, you have this. This is the color pie. Haha.
Mhm.
There are things we probably didn't need this for this, but I like to draw it. There are
Yep.
things that red can do and there are things that red cannot do. Things that
Mhm.
blue can do, it cannot do. These tend to be relatively separate things, different things, and these sometimes are similar-ish, but are also different. Like direct damage is almost entirely red, and like green gets it a little bit with fight, and white gets it a little bit in the form of like doesn't really get it actually, but sometimes it gets some like weak direct damage behind dumb shit.
Yeah.
And then black is just straight up kill stuff, which is kind of like direct damage. It's like infinite direct damage. And
Mhm.
then blue just can't do that at all, unless you're
Yeah.
a prodigal sorcerer from 1998. Um, um, and when I was searching through the cards, it didn't particularly feel like that. Like there was like, okay, there's like some more unearthy stuff in red. There's still some, I think, in green. And then like all of the green stuff, it was like, yeah, there's like a little bit of continuity in like the creature types, but there wasn't like, okay, the green is all about creature tokens, like, or not
Mhm.
creature tokens, +1/+1 counters, or -1 counters or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
there was not like a okay, this is what this is about. It was more like search through this, pile of cards A versus pile of cards B that have it like a relatively random distinction, and then find a card that you like within A that's really powerful and hope that there's some amount of other cards within A and the gray that you can make a deck out
Mhm.
of. It's like there's like the slime thing that's like, oh, all of your slimes get plus X plus this, for the number of slimes you have. I was like, ooh, that's a cool card. And then like I like looked through the green cards that I was looking at, and I was like, there's like I'm in here. Like
There's not that many slimes
I was
here.
like, this is
Yeah.
confusing. Like there's a really cool slime card that just doesn't have support. Like okay, cool.
Mhm.
So I guess yeah, they don't feel like they have a lot of identity. And that might just be like you need a little card here that's like this is what green does and this is what red does and this is what blue does. Like, oh, okay, I get it now. But
I have
just coming in blind, I couldn't feel that, I guess.
that is something that I've been working on because I do have like set identity in design philosophy for the
Mhm.
card. Like red is very like aggro.
Mhm.
Green is all about like synergistic abilities and such, like
Mhm.
token laying and playing cards from discard and the lot like that. And blue is very control based, very much like able to manipulate the battlefield a lot more than the other two. While green is able to manipulate its own battlefield a lot better than the other two. While red is able to
Just
attack and deal damage a lot better than the other two. And it's not as distinct
mhm.
because there's also the problem of because I don't have a five color pie,
Right.
I've decided to have a fourth gray color, which is all
Right,
types.
which is, I mean, there's colorless in Magic the
Mhm.
Gathering,
Yeah,
like they tend
just
to be
like that.
like slightly weaker cards, but they can go in
Mhm.
deck. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I have gray weaker cards and powerful cards like Gonk Gonk, which
Mhm.
sort of just do a thing.
Right, right. I mean, I guess yeah. The problem is going to be like you're shipping with
Mhm.
this many cards times four, which I assume is close to what 300, 400 cards that you would be shipping with.
This for three different. So I plan on shipping three different boxes,
Okay.
and each box would hold about 500 cards per
hmm
color pie set.
Right. I mean, I'm just thinking through the logistics of like if you're just doing two player, you can just have eight gonkonks. But as soon
Mhm.
as you're like, oh, maybe we play a three-player game or four-player game, which maybe you can specifically say, hey, it's not designed for this. It's going to be weird and wonky, and that's fine.
Which
But
it's not.
people are going to want to play with three or four people because that is the that's what the nerds like. There's gonna be a fall off real quick of people. Well, there's not enough gongongs to go around, like okay. Um, and I do wonder a little bit at how much of the issue with these identities is that what this actually turns into is how aggro can I be at rallying? and how much can I control rallying on my board, and this is how much can I control rallying on other people's boards. Where these are all end up just being variations on how do I rally,
Mhm.
as opposed to like how do I interact with other people's cards and in the,
Mhm.
the battlefield and cool stuff because of how the mana system works. Um, which is to say, like, it might need to be that like there's significantly like let's say like percentage wise that this is like 10% of the cards have rally on them, and this is maybe like 12, and this is maybe 15, but then this is like
Mhm.
percent. My man, my so it's like okay, everybody has to have like everyone's getting their rally shit from Gray,
Mhm.
and that Gray is just all about rallying and getting more shit out on the board, and that's basically the mana system. Like Gray becomes your mana system, and
Yeah.
then maybe there's some extra mana-y stuff here and there in the colors, but then that lets you like actually focus on what you want to do within the actual colors themselves. Of like, hey, I'm going to be playing with the +1, -1 counters and ward counters, and making my creatures big and making and just fighting your creatures or doing direct damage. And it can like literally that can be almost the entire sole focus of these cards,
Mhm.
as opposed to being like, well, this one lets you pull to rally, and that one lets you push to rally, and this one lets you rally for every time that you remove a counter from a card, and this one lets it's like they're all just
Mhm.
variations on rally, you know.
Yeah.
And then this can literally just become like a crap ton of teeny tiny creatures that swarm the board, you know. And this one can then
Yeah.
start being like, well, I'm going to screw with your board. I'm going to do direct, whatever, do direct damage or remove things or return them to your hand, or like they actually can start having identity then.
Mhm.
Um, that's my 2 cents. I don't know if that's actually a good 2 cents, but
No, that's good. That's good. It's useful because it's something that's been brought up before.
right. Like I
And
mean, a good starting spot would be like literally just like organize the cards by color and literally just count how many, like what percentage of each color says rally right now, and then be like, okay, let's maybe have this, or depending on what that percentage is, because I would bet you that each of these is probably close to 50% right now.
I can actually get that for you right now.
Data, we love data.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of 30, so a third, another third, and another third.
They
So
each
roughly, yeah, roughly 33% of each color has
rally on them,
rally on it.
right? Yeah, I mean, I guess here, question number one: of the
Mhm.
cards that are out here, how many percentage wise are there? Better question, and probably harder to answer. In these decks that you have made and ranked somewhat, what is the percentage in there?
That's a good point.
That is when, because it's like
Mhm.
it's great that you have this card here that says when it enters, give a -1 counter. But if no one puts it in their deck, then the card might as well not. You know,
Mhm. Yeah,
um, if literally people are just putting cards in that say rally, these decks might be 80% cards that say. You'd have to go through and start looking, going, oh, you know what? This deck that's A tier has 90% rally cards, and this deck that's C tier only has 12. It's like, oh, well, that's why it's winning so much. um, the rest, I think, the rest of my stuff that I want to talk about is
mhm,
mostly graphical. Um, which is there were like some huge changes graphically from last time to this time, and all for
mhm.
the better. They look great. Um,
Thank you.
a few small things though.
Mhm,
And some of this is personal preference, obviously. Personally, I would make these icons the same size as this, probably.
hold on, coming
Whether
back.
like it's a spell or a creature, should be like
Mhm.
approximately the same size as this. It could be
So like
bigger.
big, big.
Not
Okay.
big, big. Like this is maybe a little too big, but like as big as this one, probably.
Because this is the upscaled version of that. So,
Like
because I had symbols before,
boop,
so even bigger.
like that
Mm,
big, and then this text that's here,
mm. All right.
font wise, it's like there's no reason for it to be small. It's important enough. Like you have very specific cards that are like, if it's a flora bird, like get plus 812. Like oh yeah, totally.
Mm,
Um, Other than that, the rest of the cards are looking great. Um, that was all my card stuff. The
mm.
the the other thing now is these counters, which is I remember vaguely, I think, and my memory playing tricks on me, that you were saying that this was like somewhat bit um bitized 16-bit because that was an aesthetic you were going for.
Correct.
But that doesn't necessarily go through into any of the art that I've seen so far. Like this looks like maybe like more 64-bit,
Mm.
whereas this looks like 8-bit. Like, and the cards, like the art on the cards is small enough that you do have art on that
Mm.
like literally just looks like art. Very simple art, and good art, but art. It doesn't look like 16-bit or 32-bit art or 8-bit art. So like
Mm.
if you're gonna do this aesthetic, that's fine. But
Just
but
keep it consistent.
but this and this do not match right now.
Yeah.
So like you could do all of the art and like 16-bit, and then this is cool. But if you're going to keep this art, which I think is beautiful and amazing, then just upscale this. It's just not a big
All right.
deal.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that you can do, like I was looking at the +1/+1 counters that come with Magic nowadays. Um, and here's my thinking, which is here's my token. It is red, but have instead of these have
Like a one down the middle. Mm.
within the symbol kind of behind it. Maybe this is gray, slightly small, actually, but
Mm.
this would be. And then you can have a similar rule as Magic the Gathering, where +1 and -1 counters highlighting.
Which I do.
Great.
Mm.
And you can also, I assume that this is the intention.
Correct. Oh, that's cool. The text goes with it.
But yeah, if you try doing this as a tile, you'll be able to like put this image custom. This is how we do it. Real world. Circle. How this is a short tutorial on how to do.
And that's with the tile.
Yeah, if you do a tile, it asks for two different images, and then it asks for.
That
Um,
is useful. Cool. Thank you.
but anyway, that's my little bit of TTS help. Um, Other than that, um, I want to try again. I want to try building a deck again on something better. I a little bit shot myself in the foot, also a little bit on purpose.
Mm.
Because
No, I understand.
you had somewhere a tier list, and you're like, these are all like crap tier, and I was like, all right, let me go find the weirdest fucking looking one. And I was like, and I like looked at this, and I was like, there is literally like knowing what I know about how the mana system works, there's no way that this card works. It just doesn't at all. Like And I was just like, "Imma prove a point." So, I apologize for being a little bit of a dick,
No,
but
I'm fine. I remember I told my friend he's doing this on purpose, so it's good. It's good. It's one of
Um,
the hardest ones to build a deck around
right,
because it has so many limitations that other decks don't have.
right,
So,
and honestly, like, the bonuses is like, "Mm?"
mm,
Like, especially when you just, like, natively are rallying 2 a turn, and I'm natively rallying 1 a turn, and have no way of getting an extra rally at all. And then all of my stuff costs 1 more. It's just like, "Ooh, it's not gonna work." That's okay.
mm,
I did have, like, this is the little nerd in me that's been playing Magic for far too long. I had, like, lots of little tiny things as I'm looking at cards where I'm like, "This card should work different." This is one of my favorite examples of how this should work different. Maybe it'll be broken a bit. Um, this should just be um, rally X, where X is the number of so like the first one that you play get one, and then
it's an investment.
yeah, but
Mm,
then if you can keep out fungal colonies, all of a sudden now like maybe they both trigger. So like
mm,
okay, I rally two on this one and two on this one. So like
mm,
right now it's kind of like the way it's just phrased now is like I guess you kind of get that now, but it's not self-referential to themselves. Less
mm.
self-referential than it could be. I'm just thinking of how this would be formatted in Magic the Gathering, I guess. Like,
That's how it used to be. Actually, is they would rally one for the number that there were,
oh,
and
maybe I saw that before because, like, because we looked at a bunch of cards last time, so maybe I
mhm,
saw it and that stuck in my brain
yeah.
because I like looked at that and I was like, this is not how this should be written.
I value assessed what the cards can bring out to the table,
Right.
and 16 on the final drop was a lot. So I had to.
Well,
It
yeah,
was a lot,
yeah.
like a lot, a lot, a lot.
I mean, you also have to like keep them on the board for that long, which
That
is
is true.
big, you know? And you'd have to
Yeah,
go through your entire deck to get that, you know,
yeah.
statistically speaking. Um anyway, yeah, I definitely will have you back at in several weeks and play with not a shitty leader that I can actually start doing fun things with. Um
All right.
but I am interested to also to see if you can make some small changes like we talked about with this color pie and just
Mhm,
like make things feel a little bit more um having an identity because it didn't necessarily like it's a little bit going back but like I wasn't I could see people like kind of getting confused a little bit in that
mhm.
like you talk to people who've been playing Magic the Gathering for a while and they're like I am a red player like I always play
Yeah.
red or red of a red green blah blah blah. Like I really like how that works, blah, blah, blah. And here I couldn't I wasn't feeling that where I was like, ah yeah, fuck yeah, I definitely need to play like for sure. It's kind of like, I mean, these are a little bit different than these cards, but like
Mhm,
I guess the best analogy I have is like they all kind of felt like a mishmash of Magic the Gathering cards, but like red was from set A and blue was from set B. Like, yeah, they're
mhm.
doing different they're doing things in a different way, but they're basically doing the same thing. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And then my last thing was just a question, which is here: why so many copies of the same card that are different? Like Bushman and Vacant and Skull and Little Imp and Sparks.
Oh, these up here.
All of these are the same card.
This was a old design that I've kept. It was basically a so before you used to be able to discard these cards from your hand to rally one as like a spell ability, right?
Hmm.
And then that proved to be too strong,
That
so I
sounds strong.
removed
It
it.
sounds good to me, but
It is good, and it is the problem is you can have all 8 of them in your deck, and then suddenly turn one, you have 7 rallies.
That sounds totally balanced and fair. Talk about
But then I removed it. I made the basic guys, and it's less about the card
it. Mhm.
presence and more so just about making a base for every type was
Mhm.
my thing. Was like, this is the base undead, this is the base gremlin, this is the base elemental. And then I realized I put no identity behind any of the cards, which kind of sucks.
Right. I
Because
mean,
like Blockrock Golem has more of an identity than the stone thing.
right. I would
Yeah.
say lean into this sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
especially like there's gonna be 4 copies of each of these.
Hmm.
So that is literally what there's what 8 of these times 4.
Yeah.
That's you know, I'm bad at doing mental math this fast.
32
There we go. 32 cards that you're sending people that are
that do nothing.
exactly the same and do nothing.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite things about other trading card games is
Hmm.
the little bits of flavor that you get from really cheap, simple cards that have like one ability on them, and they
Yeah.
like end up being really evocative. Like one of my favorite. This is gonna sound dumb as shit, but one of my favorite cards in Magic the Gathering is Raging Goblin. It's 1 mana for a 1/1 with haste. That's it.
That card's in my goblin deck, actually. I know what you're
But
talking.
you can show someone that card and be like, "This is what red is.
Mm,
This card, if this is all you know about red, you can be like, I want to play a red deck." Because that tells you everything you need to know about red. You're going to be small, fast, cheap creatures that punch fast, and they're probably going to die, and that's okay. So, like, putting like one line of text onto each of these that like would let you know what this shit is doing, even if they're bad, like they can be bad, like I know you already have the wear sheep. It's like I mean, where is wear sheep?
um, right here.
Like comparing these, this is literally just like a worse version of wear sheep. So like one, if I'm making an undead deck, why would I even put this in?
Yeah.
Two, like you could probably literally like not have this card and this just be wear sheep. Like
Mm,
or have wear sheep, keep wear sheep, and have this be a worse version of wear sheep even. That's like bury and then like unearth something bad or like I wouldn't even know like
discard one.
not necessarily bad for you, but
Mm.
again,
Well,
right,
that's useful in an undead deck.
it can be useful in an undead deck.
Mm.
That's one of my the one of the draws. There we go. Of what am I drawing? A mountain, just mountains, mountains, mountains. Um, one of the draws of trading card games is bad thing on card. This card bad,
Mm.
but dot 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 dot. If you find this other card plus bad card equal good card, you know? And
Mm.
people love finding that shit where you're like, oh yeah, this thing that's a downside, it's not a downside anymore. Now it's not even negated, it's now an upside. So, like if you can manage to do that with even just some of these cards, that'll be really cool. If it's just like, oh yeah, this card sucks. Then you're like, yeah, but in an undead deck with these 3 other cards, it actually becomes fucking good as shit. Ah,
Mm.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah, like this hairless bug. I was like, what is happening here? I was like, I'm sure that this is useful in some deck, but I
There
don't know
is.
what deck.
Where is it? Where is it? I'll actually show you. Where is it? Ah, crap. I'm trying to find it. There it is. There. Power cycle plus the hairless pug allows you to put a -1 counter on another.
Yeah, see? There. People love shit like this.
Mm.
Um or like here's I'm going to be dumb
Mhm.
because this is my idea for what Magic should do, and they haven't done, and I'm mad about it. So now I'm gonna let you do it. Locking things. Another one of my favorite cards. This is turned into how this cool things in Magic the Gathering that you should steal. Is Spark Elemental. It's
Mhm.
a 3/1 trample and haste. It dies at the end of the turn. And this is really cool for attacking. This is like the coolest card for attacking. And in my opinion, a card like this should be in every single Magic the Gathering deck because it is Raging Goblin times 2. Not
Mhm.
only are you going to do more damage and you're doing trample and you have haste, but also it just dies. So you're not even like gonna. It's literally you don't need to worry about it. Like it's just like it's a card, it's a creature, and now it's dead, done.
Mhm.
And that's again what makes red red. Um, but there should be the opposite of that, which is now this is a 3/1. This should be a 1/3 with what is can be played not on your turn on in this.
Flash.
I mean, I yes, I know it is Flash and Magic the Gathering. Sorry,
Oh,
I meant in yours.
I don't have a mechanic like that.
and don't you have can be played not on your turn?
I have it for spells. It's called flashball or fastball.
Fastball, yeah, we can put fastballs
Yeah.
on creature. Why not?
Okay.
Um, we'll do it in your terms. Here we go. Fastball, and it's 1/3. It's really really good at defending, but then it dies at the end. And I also think that this card should exist in every single Magic the Gathering deck, and it exists in one Magic the Gathering set. Um, because this is a cool duology of like, hey, this is what this color does, and this is what this color does, but in the same way. People like that sort of shit. And not that you should do this necessarily, but I'm using this as a way to show
Mhm.
um, that you can use these colorless cards to start showing people, hey, if you make a bug deck, it is maybe going to do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then also, people will have that cool bug deck that does this maybe sort of cool kind of thing. But then maybe someone's gonna go and find not a bug deck and go, you know what? I can abuse this by doing, finding this other weird card and utilizing it in that way, and that will make people feel smart. And
Mm.
having 8 cards that don't let people feel smart is a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
so I guess I guess my advice is go find the opportunity. I have no idea what that is, but
I get what you're saying.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like these sorts of cards, much more interest, like literally infinitely more interesting than these sorts of cards. I mean, the other thing you could do if you wanted to be like kooky crazy. Here's my other kooky crazy thing. Um, is you could literally have like I guess that's the equivalent of literally just having rally one on this a 0 cost that's rally one. I was like, can this be -1 to cast? Oh wait, that's literally just rally one. Um,
It's just this card right below it.
yeah, it's literally just that. I had another idea and then I just forgot it. What was it? Dang nabbit. Another cool idea, but I'm being dumb. Um, I'll think of it in the middle of the night and send you a message at 3 in the morning. Being like, you should do this. This would be great. um. Anyway, now I'm starting to go crazy. Um. Also, I just literally cannot wait to start seeing more of this art because it's all just it's gold, Jerry. It's gold. Um,
Thank you.
I love the silly art and I love the silliness. In fact, I would excuse me. I would suggest um, that you lean into it. Like bacon shell could literally be like bedazzled shell or something like you should
Mm,
like if you're gonna be like these are the weird spells that nobody wants. You know, like
yeah.
like fork gremlin, perfect. Block rock golem is like why is I mean, yes, it's a golem, but like, is it a cast off? Why is it a cast off? And I'm not
Mm,
saying every single one of them needs to be ridiculously over the top silly,
yeah.
but your your percentage of silly could probably be at least 10 higher. Like big heavy sword, funny. Pure wine, maybe funny. Boomstick, funny. Moonrock, it's like there's
Yeah,
definitely like
yeah.
hits and misses where you're like, um, you can definitely up the like I this deagle had better be a fucking dog. That's all I'm saying.
They did.
Like,
The funniest part is I've been setting up my art sheet, and the deagle, I've just been putting pictures of dogs.
yeah, yeah, it just needs to be a like a gun that's shaped like a dog or a dog that's shaped like a gun or I don't know, but like we're talking like Island of Misfit Toys. Like this should
Yeah,
literally be Island of Misfit Toys the game, basically.
yeah, yeah.
Like because and that's not to say that like this game isn't interesting and won't pull people in, but
That's part of the
that's
interest.
part of the
Is
interest and
yeah.
you sometimes need a hook and sometimes that hook can literally just be art. The amount of people who I've talked to about Root who are like, I saw the box and it was pretty, and so I played it, and
That's why I played it.
now I've played 300 games of Root, and I could care less what the art looks like, you know? And it's just like sometimes you literally just need the hook of like, look at this silliness, and people are like, that is silly, and then they play and they're like, and it's well designed, and you're like, I know.
Oh god.
It never hurts to make people laugh,
Yeah.
you know. Anyway, I think I finally ran down. Um, I look forward to playing this again next time, and I would also sorry, this is a final thought just from what I was thinking in my head. You you can definitely be like the focus of this is a 1v1 game. I think the focus of Magic the Gathering is a 1v1 game, but
Mhm.
I would also not shy away from a four-player game.
I am working on a four-player format, but
Mhm.
from the suggestions last time, I'm trying to focus on 1v1
Oh, yeah,
first.
yeah, yeah. Definitely focus on the 1v1 first. I was just like, I wouldn't be like, this is only a 1v1 game. I'd be like, game is meant to be played 1v1, but you can play with three or four people or five or six.
Yeah.
Like there's
Could I run the idea past you real quick?
yeah.
If I can? It's just I have the idea for the four-player game to not be played like a traditional game, but rather you combine each player's deck into one and shuffle those together and then play that way or something to that manner. I know
Uh
it's
like
risky.
two people shuffle one and they play against somebody other another two people who shuffle or everybody puts
So
their deck in the middle and shuffles and then everyone's playing off of one.
I'd say like everyone selects 30 cards instead of the regular 60,
Mhm.
and then they put that all into a stack of 120 and
Mhm.
shuffle that, and then it's a four-player game, sort of like Commander, except you don't know what you're going to draw
Mm. I
in a
mean,
sense.
I would say that that sounds like a different game, honestly.
It
And
does.
it sounds like a fun game, and it's a game that I've played kind of. Which is to say, you can do
Maybe
that
save it for something
with
else.
Magic the Gathering when you open packs. There's like a mini game you can play that has like a vague rule, and I haven't done it in like 5 years. But like the idea is that you open your pack of 15, you shuffle it, you like take out the mana, you shuffle it, you put it down in the center of the thing, and then two people play Magic the Gathering with that as a shared deck, and
Mm.
you like can I forget what the rules for mana are. I think it's literally like you can you like have a stack of mana on the side, and you can like literally just grab 1 mana every turn of whatever color you want or something like that. I can't remember.
Mhm.
It's weird and silly, but it's a fun way to open a pack of cards and go like, oh, what did we get? Oh, ooh, that's really cool. And then I think you only have 5 life, and you play 3 rounds or something like that. Can't even remember.
Yeah,
Or maybe
I think I've heard of that.
I have to look it up because it's fun, and I want to do that with my friend next time we open Magic the Gathering cards. But um, my point is that that sounds kind of like that, which is
Mm,
different. And I think what people are really going to um, latch onto is going to be these leaders being like,
mhm.
you're really going to get the Spikes and the Johnnies being like, I'm going to make a really cool deck based off of maybe not this because this is broken in the opposite direction. Um, this,
Which one's broken, Flimble?
that, where are these other ones? These guys. Here we go. You know, this. I really love this, and I think it's really cool that whenever I put a charm, I get to also rally, and or whenever
Mhm.
this and build a deck around that. And then if you're like, all right, let's play a 4-player game, they're gonna be like, only a fourth of the cards have anything to do with my guy. It's just like it just becomes immediately
Yeah,
less.
yeah.
Um, sorry. Now I'm like looking at these cards and the grayed outedness versus blacked outedness, trying to figure out. I think I would just make them transparent, like an empty. I think it's clear.
Like just fill it with the white background color
Yeah, like
instead.
whatever this pinkish white background is,
Mhm.
that would be that, and this would be yellow. Yellow. I think you might need to start messing with hues just a little bit, like
Mhm.
find the exact thing, or at some point, I don't know if you have thoughts behind these becoming symbols also, like the red
Mhm.
having its own symbol and blue having its symbol.
I
Um,
discussed it with someone else. I'm thinking about doing that with my next big modification.
right. That would then be like even more. But it was just
Mhm.
this. I
Yeah.
think it's just odd having like it looks like black is a color. Like
Yeah.
um again, just a graphical thing.
Mhm.
Dumb graphical thing. Hmm. Okay. Now I think I've actually run.
It's definitely a lot to think about. I've got to better focus my triangle, my pie, I guess. Better focus that. Make the cheaper cards more interesting. Make
Yeah,
resources more abundant.
that was the other thing we talked about a little bit on Discord.
Mhm.
I'm gonna reiterate what we talked about in Discord, which was like um that the we talked about the mana curve on this. Oh, I want bigger color. Mana curve in a particular deck is this, is what you
Mhm.
said basically. Just great
Correct.
and cool. The interesting and complexity and power of cards in the game is this.
Mhm.
Um, which is it just means that it's really hard to make decks in this area. And some people like to make decks in this area. Oftentimes aggro decks live in this area. And,
Mhm.
you know, mid-range decks live in this area. And then Timmy's live in this area. um, but I don't think it should be switched to a different color so it's less confusing. I don't think it should be this, but there should be, little spikes like this. Where like, oh, there is actually a really powerful small creature, and you have some of that right now. I'm
Mhm.
exaggerating with this straight line, but that line can be more wavy than it currently is. I
Yeah.
think it's a little wavy now, and it could be. There's like a really really powerful creature that's only 2 mana or something like that, but maybe he has a
Mhm.
downside, or he's only powerful in these sorts of decks, or he has. all sorts of weird stuff. Like again, one of the cool things of Magic is you have stuff like Deathrite Shaman, where it's like a 1 mana creature that has like 12 lines of text on it. Like because it has a rarity, that matches that. That's where then you can start going into rarity and going like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, when you buy this, you only get 1 copy, maybe you add some text onto add some stuff onto epicness of like deck building wise. Maybe you can only have one of an epic card in. Then you can ship 4 of them,
Hmm.
but everyone can only have one in their
I did have a similar restraint where you could only have 2 copies in a deck
deck. Hmm.
of any given epic card,
Right.
and that was I'm not going to say it was a bad thing at all.
Mhm.
It's just some players felt like it was inconsistent. You wouldn't get your win conditions
Right, but
as
that
often.
that just means that they shouldn't necessarily be your win conditions. They should just be like,
Hmm.
this is a crazy powerful card for cheap, you know,
Hmm.
which is fine. I also did think of the thing that I thought of before, which is it would be interesting to have some subsect of cards. Um, maybe it's, fungal cards. You have like within green, maybe there's, 8 fungal cards or 4 fungal cards or something like that, who do the broken thing, where when they sacrifice for how much they cost.
Hmm.
Because it's okay that it's broken if it's not on everything. It's only on 4 cards or 5 cards or 2 cards, whatever it is. Um, becomes less broken and more like okay, how do I build around this and make this actually worthwhile? Because I think that would be a cool thing to mess with. You're not messing with it right
Yeah.
now. You just have it as a rule, and some things are meant to be just rules, and some things it's fun when you can break the rule. What does this turn into? Does it turn into something?
Hmm.
Um, and breaking the rule across the board, clearly you tested, busted, and dumb. But breaking a little bit, maybe that's good. I mean, I do think that, and this also might be like, there's a lot of cards. I did not look at all these cards. I literally only looked at the green cards and green cards when I was building. I mean, I looked through, red and blue. Be like, do I want to play a red or blue deck? I looked through it like a little bit, but I was like, let's go off of this leader. Let's just like focus. Um, but I think the what was it? The werewolves and the undead are like the two like really really solid tribal things that are going on. But I'm like, oh, these all do the same thing. But I had a lot of trouble, I think, kind of uh, grokking what some of the other ones were like doing. It wasn't like, oh,
Yeah.
here's all of the slimes and they all work in this way and are all riffing off of this idea. It's kind of
Hmm.
like, oh, this one's a slime. That's interesting. Um, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I only have 3 big tribal things. It's
Hmm.
like you said, the lichens, the undead, and then I have the golems, which are sort of blue and green
Hmm.
cards, which are sort of just the high health, low damage passive cards that benefit you
Right.
um with like different sort of things like
Mhm.
that.
Right. And I don't think you need to, this doesn't need to become tribal the game,
Mm,
but
that's how it was before.
right, which people like and would be fun, but also um you can use the tribes in a non-tribal way, but also my brain is breaking now. See, I should have just turned it off when I said that I was run down. Um, you can decrease mental load by making things that are in the same tribe work. That makes sense.
It does make sense.
Like flora and flora. Why are these both flora? What? Like just flavor? Or, like this literally is just like all about rallying and having first
Mm,
strike. And this is, you know, slowly grows and has
yeah.
+1/+1 counters. Okay, maybe I'm not saying they all like every single flower has to deal with +1/+1 counters, but maybe they all deal with counters a little bit, or maybe they all have to do with prowess, like just a little
Mhm.
bit of like identity there. It doesn't need to be like a whole like you have to build your whole deck around these to do the thing, but when you
Mhm.
are going to be handing people this many cards, anything that is going to let them start subdividing is going to help. Of being like, "Oh, okay, this is another flora card. Okay, that makes sense." Yeah, like
Mhm.
this is a great example. Like these three are all flora and they have nothing to do with each other basically.
Exactly.
Um so and people like to just people will naturally just be like, "I'm going to make a bug deck," because if you
They
put
like both.
they like bugs, and if you have things work in similar ways, then they are going to naturally start to synergize a little bit.
Mhm.
Like these two should be both birds. I mean, they are both birds. That's great, but like why is this a beast bird cold blood bug?
Are you asking that genuinely?
I mean, I'm sure it has to do with the cacophony of vowels and that is
It's
up here,
supposed to
but
it's supposed to be a meatball of all sorts of chimera creatures, basically, is the idea.
I love it. But then this this doesn't speak to that other than like
Mhm.
I guess it's throwing stuff out. Throwing around counters. So
Mhm.
there I guess all of that to say there's a little bit of mismatch between mechanics and flavor that could
Mhm.
be um
Better refined.
more polished and to I think a little bit of work will go a long way in that of just like
Mhm.
starting to go like why is this a bird and a flora? Does it need to be both? Uh, if it is going to be both, what am I doing with flora and what am I doing with birds? It doesn't even
Mhm.
need to it's not that they all need to synergize, but like, in Magic the Gathering, all the birds fly. They just all fly. So like if you pull out a bird, you're like, this flies. Duh. Like I know that it
Mhm.
flies. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to look at it, like so you don't need it doesn't need to, not all birds need to fly in your game, but having that sort of mental load off shedding, de-shedding,
Yeah.
um, is a
Well,
good thing.
maybe more birds have prowess
Right,
as
it's
opposed to
right, it's like, oh,
regular.
like, it's a good bet that if there's a bird, it has prowess, or,
Yeah.
if there's a good chance that if it's a flora, that it has something to do with counters, whether it's life counters or the defense counters or the attack counters, like, it's gonna have
Mhm.
something to do with counters. And maybe that's it pulls and adds counters, and maybe it's that it, comes with 0 and it comes with a bunch of counters on it. Maybe it moves counters around, but they all have to deal with counters.
Mhm.
Um, and you can start messing with that, and I think that would, um, really add to the interestingness osity. Um, I just thought of something else, and I keep thinking of things, forgetting them. Oh, I remembered it. There we go. Um, I would probably it was if were I you, I would shy away from things that are words that Magic the Gathering use or other trading card games use as ability words.
That's fair.
Um, just because it's going to confuse people. I
Yeah.
think you have prowess, and I think you have one other one. You don't have a lot. I can't remember what the other one was though.
I have prowess, and I mean, does deadly count?
And ward was the other one.
Oh, ward.
Right.
Mm.
Those are both like things in Magic the Gathering, and people are if you put a if so you go to a uh a local friendly game store, Logos, LGS. There we go.
Mhm.
Um, and you're like, let's play this game with random stranger, and then you're like, all right, play this card with prowess. They're gonna be like, oh, so it's like a spell, and you're like, no, it has first strike. They're gonna be like, what? What? Yeah. Um, it's just onboarding people is going to be tricky enough as it is with a trading card game,
Yeah.
and you want to make that as frictionless as possible. We just got back from Unpub 2 weekends ago,
Mm,
1 weekend ago, and the the word of the weekend for me was and the concept was removing friction from your game. Like where are the friction points in your game and how to remove them, um,
mm,
and and how to identify them. Be like, oh yes, you're right. That is a friction point in the rules, or that is a friction point in onboarding people, or something like that. Like, oh, it's an interesting way of thinking through game design. What is going to annoy people about this game? Like I feel like so often we as designers we really focus on like how am I gonna make people like this game? What is
mm,
interesting? What's fun about this game? Like that's the fun part to design. Like oh,
yeah.
it's gonna be so cool when they can do this, and yeah, that's a really cool, interesting puzzle. It's it's a lot of fun, and that's the cool part of game design.
Mm,
And it's very important, obviously. But equally as important is what are the shitty parts of this game at this moment? Like, what are people going to be and identifying that is really really hard. One of the great benefits of playtesting, but it's also just like a thing that you can do kind of on your own. Of like you kind of step back into third person and go, where are the hangups in this game? What is
mm,
too fiddly about this game? Um what is adding to this game and what is not? What is taking away? Like one of the things that I love about this game is the whole push pull. Um, and it really does add to it's fiddly, but it adds to the game enough that you're like, all right, this is great,
mm.
awesome. So, anyway, that was a soapbox. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I like getting a lot of feedback.
It's been
It's genuinely
it,
helpful.
it's funny to it's been a long couple weeks of not designing as much because I was moving, and then a lot of design crammed into one weekend with Unpub. So my brain is like both firing on no cylinders and 12 cylinders at the same time. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you have made it to this point, thank you so much. This uh, is a lot of fun. There is a tabletop simulator mod up. I will sure that that is in the description, so people can come and make their own decks and play, and then send randomness feedback because this game is fun. Especially when you don't do it. It's a trap.
Don't choose Bloop. He's
Don't
the
choose
trap leader.
don't choose Bloop, and you'll have fun. And I really look forward to having you on in another couple weeks and seeing how it is.
Of course. Thank you for your time.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much for everybody who's watching at home. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, come play this game, play our games, join the Discord, chat it up. Bye.